So, but seriously, how do you tune into your intuition? How do we do that? I'm going to spend the first half of my talk showing you why intuition, why psychic ability is real. There is actually now scientific proof of various kinds of psychic ability. Even Albert Einstein was high on intuition. He was actually a relatively spiritual person. There's a quote from him: "The only real valuable thing is intuition. The intellect has little to do on the road to discovery. There comes a leap in consciousness, call it intuition or what you will. The solution comes to you and you don't know why or how." Right? Just relax down into it and then it's there. And a little over 100 years ago, Albert Einstein had an intuition, a thought, and he said in a very heavy German accent, E equal mc squared. E equal mc squared. We've all heard of it. And all the other physicists, scientists of his time said, "What?" They too, a lot of them were German, and they said, "You are a crazy young whippersnapper." They said he's nuts. They called him just a patent clerk because that's what he was doing at the time, and that he was stupid. And then a lot of physicists, I love that word, it's a word that you can't really say very seriously because you sort of sound like you're a little goofed up one. Physicist. The other physicists, some physicists were actually scared because they realized that if Albert was right, that changes everything. Everything changed. That the world was no longer physical if Albert was right. And I'm going to show you why these physicists were upset with Albert. So I passed out some hymnals here. If you will turn in your hymnal to page 2. And
I didn't know we were doing math today.
Yeah, math. So don't be intimidated by this, right? Go to that second section where it says 12 equals 3 times 4, right? We all know that. And we also know the line below that, that 3 equals 12 divided by 4, right? And that's significant in what I'm going to show you. So let's go back to the top. E equals mc squared. What does that mean? E stands for energy. M stands for mass, which is physical reality, physicalness, and then C is a constant, and in this case the constant is the speed of light, which is 186,000 miles per second times 186,000 miles per second. It's squared, right? And that's just really fast. So energy equals mass times the speed of light squared. So look down to the second section over on the right, E equals mc squared, right? But just like 3 equals 12 divided by 4, M, mass, physical reality, equals what? Energy divided by really fast, right? By 186,000 miles per second times itself. That's what our physical reality is. That's what the physicists were so upset about. That mass equals energy times really fast. What does that mean? Or sorry, divided by really fast, right? That's insane. And so, I know.
So
what this has boiled down to is something that these days we take actually relatively for granted. You hear it all the time, everything is energy. But when Albert said it, that was not an option, that was not possible. Things are either energy or they're physical, they can't be both. And so, lost my place here. If everything in the universe is energy, then that gives the universe, our physical reality, a much different kind of a makeup than what we have thought it was. A protege of Einstein's, also a physicist, say it with me, physicist. Thank you. Dr. David Bohm, for about 50 years, he's an old guy now, but a long time ago, he came up with a new theory of existence based on the fact that the universe seems to be constructed like a hologram is constructed. And this holographic theory is becoming really pretty widely accepted among physicists and scientists of today. It's the only theory of existence that explains everything. Nothing has to be left to the supernatural. There's an explanation for everything, including psychic ability and, of course, intuition. So I'm going to give you a real quick, simple explanation of the holographic theory. It's important. So if you will turn in your hymnal to page 3, that is a wave interference pattern, right? And so forget about the black blocks. Look at, there's A on the left and B on the right. And imagine that A is a pebble of one size and B is a pebble of another size, and they're being dropped into a clear pond, and they make these concentric waves. And the bigger pebble is going to make bigger waves. The smaller pebble is going to make smaller waves. And so then eventually, you see in the chart that they meet in the center. And what's phenomenal is the area where the two different kinds of waves meet. They create a wave interference pattern which distributes itself equally throughout the area where they meet. And what's phenomenal is that you can take the information in any one little area and you get the information of the whole. And that's how a hologram works. So if you turn in your hymnals to page 4, how to create a hologram. So I'll go through this real quickly. Top right, there's a laser, right? And it shoots a beam to the beam splitter towards the left, and then go down, follow that down to the diffusing lens, and then there's an apple, and this laser beam gets diffused into multiple beams, and then shown off the apple, and then bounced onto the piece of holographic film, which is in the center. Then back up to the top right from the laser and the beam splitter, the other beam goes top left to the mirror, to the bottom to the mirror, and then another diffusing lens, and to the piece of holographic film. So you end up with multiple frequencies because the original frequency is the one from the laser. That's the one that went to the top and the bottom and then to the holographic film. The one that's shown off the apple has changed frequencies. So we have multiple frequencies meeting in this area in the center on the holographic film. Holographic film is actually pretty much like photographic film. It's just a little bit coarser. And so that creates a wave interference pattern on the film, which distributes itself equally throughout the area, the whole area of the film. So when you create the hologram of the apple, you take a new laser, shine it through the piece of film, and on the other side you get a 3D light image of an apple. And holograms have been in existence since the early 60s. And what's phenomenal is that you can cut this piece of film in half. You still get a whole apple on the other side. You keep cutting and cutting and cutting until you get the tiniest little piece. You still get a whole apple. Always. Always, always. And so what's significant about this, again, is that the universe is multiple frequencies, an infinite number of frequencies. Since everything is energy, energy is frequencies. It does travel, move in waves. And so the universe is one massive wave interference pattern. And the truth is that at any given point in the universe, the information of the entire whole is available. And for decades, since I think it was about the 70s, scientists tried to calculate the amount of energy that's in a given cubic centimeter of space, you know, just like right here in front of you. And each time that they did calculate that amount of energy, they came up with a number that was greater than all of the energy thought to be in the entire universe. They could never explain that until this holographic theory, because the information of the entire universe is available right here. And that's why a psychic can tune into your boyfriend 3,000 miles away and tell you how he feels about you. Right? Because that information is available right here. Right here. Oops. Okay. And so that's the scientific proof of why your intuition is real. And then